Today, I have a couple big announcements that I'm excited for. One is, I think one time a week, I want to review some of my games because I feel like my opponents are tryhards. Sometimes I wake up and I'm good at chess and I can beat some very good people. So I want to turn this into a series. I don't know, beating tryhards, Smackin Sweaties episode 1. But kind of some brilliant sequences I can look through, and then a game if it's super clean. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Also, someone commented about starting a Discord. Now, I'm not familiar with Discord, but I am going to start one and I'm going to post the link to it below. And as with everything else, I'll just figure out how it works. I know a lot of people use it, so good idea. Thank you. A community vibe, chess questions, cool games, etc. Sounds like a fun time. So without further ado, let's get into it. I have 2 puzzles today and 1 game. The 2 puzzles I want to begin with is, in this position, I went knight to e4, and my opponent took the rook. Now, why is this a mistake? It's not a mistake if you take the knight, right? If you take the knight, you hit the rook, but then you have doubled pawns and they get back in time to stop you. So the only good move here is actually pawn to a6. Point is, if they take your knight, you push. Who's going to stop that guy from queening? Not the knight, not the rook, nobody. So he goes knight to c4. Looks good, right? a7, knight b6. Oh no, white is lost. Except, can you find the move? You can pause the video or you can wait for it. The move is knight to d6. I loved this. I saw this sequence from a distance and I was pretty happy with it. Point is, if they move the king, I just take. I'm guarding that guy. I'll push. I promote. So they're forced to take. And then I make a queen. And from here, it was a super easy conversion. I think he went f5, yeah. And then queen h8. This was clean to me. So from here, it was a super easy game. But I hope you enjoyed that sequence. So that's sequence 1. Now we're going to sequence 2. This is a lot easier. But I just thought it was cool because people are like, oh, opposite color bishops, you're up a pawn, it's a draw. Chess is not that easy. It always depends on the king placement. It always depends on the relation between all the pieces on the board. So the first move, easy. Bishop to f5. We're going to keep that pawn. Why lose a pawn for no reason? Okay, they push, but now I push. So the point is, and the reason it's winning is, okay, of course, if they give up the bishop for the pawn, that's easy. So they're not going to do that. They're going to try to escort their pawn while also stopping my pawn from promoting. But it just doesn't work out because we have the c pawn. See, extra pawn, opposite color bishop endgame does not mean it's a draw. Because what this pawn is going to do is it's going to act as a shield against the dark squared bishop and push. And I can always give up my bishop for their passed pawn. And no one's, that guy's not going anywhere. And that's kind of exactly what happens. c5, they resign. And yeah, so I was happy with that one too. Now we're going to get into the game as a whole. Super clean game. I was happy with this game. And yeah, they were at 2,700, not after I was done with them. No, I'm kidding. But, well, I'm not kidding, actually. But we get a French defense. I did not do the Balkan Gambit. I like to switch up my openings all the time. It's really boring playing the same thing. So sometimes I go for the Bourdonnais. Sometimes I go for the Balkan Gambit. Watch that video. It actually works well, even against titled players. When obviously they don't fall into the traps, I get a ton of activity for the pawn. And I think my win rate with it is good. But I like pushing f4. So we get a Bourdonnais. This is what I'm most used to. h5 is the best move, so he was prepped up on it. His knight wants to come to h6 to control the hole on f5, and h5 stops him from ever getting kicked out with g4 later on, of course. But everything, I just continue normally. Knight on a3 to c2, pushing for d4 so that it doesn't hang on the razor's edge. That's why I like this line, and we get all that. Now, against knight to f5, you can go d4, you can go bishop to d3. I usually like doing the latter as it scores better in the database and it feels more natural to me. So we snap off that guy and then blockade the center. Now, typically here I don't castle. I like going king f2 against this rook on the open g file so that I don't get pinned. He goes b6. I go h4, locking it down, solidifying g5 for later on. And now you see they stop you from castling, but the plan was never to castle. So thank you very much. King f2. Now you guard the g2 pawn against their rook on the g file, and your king is very, very safe here. No one's going to target this guy. So we get rook to c8, just developing, bishop to e3. One would think that the dark squared bishop is very bad in this pawn structure, and I suppose it is, though typically it becomes a beast of a pawn on d4 after a long string of exchanges. But I've kind of learned to like these passive bishops. They supply defense when necessary. Eventually the board's going to open up. Either I'm going to sacrifice, someone's going to blunder, and then it becomes a good piece. So, it's not the greatest piece right now, but it's not like I want it off the board. I like it. Knight to g5, jumping in the outpost. They exchange, but look at this. Now I have the open h file. So granted, they were annoyed at my knight. There are some sacrifices there. There are some pawn extensions. So they got rid of it. Pawn h5, saving the pawn. And now rook h3. I figured blockading the h-pawn, not allowing them to sack, close the file, was good. Because in the long term, I can build pressure onto this h-pawn. So we get the exchange in the center, and now it's the beast of a bishop. Right, because you can go b4, right? If they ever have a dark squared bishop, you go b4, and they could never trade off bishops, and then you backwards guard the backwards pawn that you created. That is what I meant to say. And so it's just a very good bishop. It clogs open files from them. I like that guy. Queen to d7. Okay, now do not get greedy. See, originally my thought was, I'm going to go queen h1 and pick up the pawn. Why would this be bad? Well, counterplay strikes on the opposite end of the board. Always be aware. Now they aim at b2. Now they aim at e2. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. So I went queen b3, stopping that. And then I figured, hey, I'm going to blow open the h-file with my other rook instead. Okay, now they can't castle. Not that they would like to, but it's a psychological edge. They can't castle. Maybe their queen is tied down here. Kind of like my queen on a3. Okay, rook c6. I'm assuming he wants to push his a-pawn. I double up, though. Does not stop me. And now a queen trade. I didn't want a queen trade. I was like, okay, maybe opposite color bishops. That might make it harder. Why do that? So b4, declining the trade. My idea was that if they go a5, they're never going to be able to take this pawn. So though my b-pawn is pinned, I mean, from all angles, I'm going to take, and it just looks like they're getting mated. I like my prospects here. I like my odds of winning. So a5 I wasn't afraid of, so b4 came to mind. Now I take the pawn, and he makes a run for it. He goes bishop to b5. Oh, you know why he went bishop to b5? I was like, clever guy. I think it was because if I go queen c1, this is what I calculated during the game, they have queen takes b4, and I'm pinned. So maybe that's what he was thinking. Maybe not. The world will never know. But I saw it, so I went rook h7. I know his king is going to try to make a run for it. I liked the aspect of trying to go g6 because the pawn is pinned, right? Something like this. Looks pretty brutal to deal with. So what did he do? He did queen f8, getting out of that. I now went queen b3 because I would like to go a4. And I can't get to the king side on the dark squares, but I could get there on the light squares. So that was kind of the idea of the queen shift, twofold. Queen g8, rook h6. Now it's never going to get bullied away because it's defended. They could never go f6, try to change the pawn structure, something like that. Now I get my queen back and queen to h5, threatening rook h8, picking up the queen. So it's just about game over. At this point, it's all about technique. Where do you go now? Rook h7, rook h8. Rook h8 is better because it gains a tempo on the queen. The queen only really has one square to go. If it goes queen g6, I mean, there are many ways to win that. That'd probably be the simplest. He goes queen g7. Now I trade queens, so he resigns. I was confident that trading queens, this would be a winning endgame, right? They go rook c7. I just go g6. They have a light squared bishop. That is a dark squared promotion pawn. So this was a pretty flawless game. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I play good chess. It's amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe we'll call it Smackin' Sweaties. But I think one time a week, it'll be fun to do a video like this. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys join the Discord. Ask away any questions you have. Thank you guys for watching as always, and have a great day.